In the wise words of Harvey Dent, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that's exactly what has happened with Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. So recently, John Harbaugh just got a new contract extension, and you would have expected for the Ravens flock to be excited about this. You're keeping John Harbaugh, one of the most successful coaches in the history of this league, and instead you got Ravens fans acting ungrateful, saying another divisional round playoff loss coming, another disappointing season on the way, another year wasting Lamar Jackson's talents. And then with Mike Tomlin, it's funny. Even though the Steelers and Ravens are arch enemies, they hate each other with all their guts, both of these fan bases have the same feelings about their head coaches. You talk to Steelers fans, they want to get rid of Mike Tomlin. They are tired of never winning anything come postseason time, and it's understandable. Here's what fans overlook, though. The longer you remain with an organization, a company, or job, the easier it is to grow a dislikeness for it over time. Eventually, your expectations get to a point where they're so high based off what you have done in the past, to where when you have a stretch like the Steelers have, where you've gone so long without a playoff win, the Ravens haven't been close to the Super Bowl since, they last won it outside of the AFC Championship against Kansas City a few years ago. So it's understandable why fans want to change the scenery when it comes to new head coaches on the Steelers and the Ravens. You feel like John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin have peaked. They have maximized. They've gotten everything that they could have out of both of these teams. The longer that you are with the team, though, you are going to have stretches like this where you go an extended period of time without a playoff win. You have stretches where you're trying to figure out how to elevate, how to get to a different level. I don't think it's John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, they're outdated. I more so think they have plateaued, and it's taken them a while to figure out how to break through again. The NFL is constantly evolving. This game is always changing. What worked 10 years ago probably isn't working anymore, at least to the same level of degree that it used to. But for Ravens and Steelers fans to be ungrateful for Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh, both of these fan bases want these coaches gone. They're not happy with them. You're ungrateful as hell. That's just being honest. I promise you the grass is not greener on the other side like you may think. Do you not know how hard it is to find a head coach that no matter what is going to win no less than 9 games every season? And although Lamar Jackson is a large reason why John Harbaugh still has a job, he did a great job of building the perfect offense around Lamar and developing a quarterback that, before he got drafted, a ton of folks thought he should have changed positions. Not too many people thought Lamar Jackson would become the player that he is today. In my opinion, the greatest quarterback talent to ever touch a football. And for Mike Tomlin, it does frustrate Steeler Nation that you're not bad enough to be in position to draft the franchise-changing quarterback like Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, and you're never good enough to compete. So if you're not good enough to win the Super Bowl, you might as well be garbage. But here's the reality of this. The Steelers and the Ravens are not far from where they want to be. You're right there, especially the Ravens. They're a lot more closer than the Steelers due to them having the young legend out of Pompano at QB. But the Steelers don't need to move on from Mike Tomlin just yet. This guy has been the biggest overachiever in the league for at least the last 4 to 5 years. The man was winning with Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, Kenny Two Hands Pickett, a washed Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Imagine what Mike Tomlin could do if he finally has at least above average quarterback play. You see, the issue with Mike Tomlin is that he can win in the regular season, but come playoff time, when you're in the conference that's home to the majority of the best quarterbacks in the league, you trying to win a postseason game with Mason Rudolph or Wash Russell Wilson is the equivalent to bringing a butter knife or a plastic butter knife to a gunfight. That's what it is. You're not winning a damn thing if you don't have good quarterback play. How can you expect Mike Tomlin to go the distance with below average QB play in a quarterback-driven league? There are some fair criticisms to be had about Mike Tomlin, but to put all of the Steelers' shortcomings on him, you know, it's a little bit irresponsible. It's a team effort. He's not just the head coach. You know, like he does have a general manager that is in charge of assembling the roster. I get it that the clock management could be a lot better, but with Mike Tomlin, I definitely feel like he's gotten the most out of the Steelers based off what they've given him from a quarterback standpoint. And John Harbaugh, I don't feel like the Ravens don't have a chance at ever winning a Super Bowl with Lamar, with him being the head coach. I just feel that it's just a matter of when. I don't think it's a matter of if the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl with Lamar, because I feel it's going to happen. And you don't need to change coaches to do so. What is the problem with Baltimore is just that you don't know how to win games in the postseason. When the game was on the line, palms get sweaty, chests get tight, you fail to deliver. Not all because of Lamar, not all because of John Harbaugh. You can't blame John Harbaugh for that Mark Andrews drop. Mark Andrews has been not just one of the best tight ends in the NFL over the last couple years, but he's one of the best players in the history of the Baltimore Ravens. If there's anybody that you would trust in a situation like that, it's Mark Andrews. You think John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, Lamar saw Mark Andrews dropping that pass coming? Absolutely not. You can't put that on John Harbaugh. You can't put that Tyler Huntley fumble a few years in the wild card round against Cincinnati where it got scooped up in return by Sam Hubbard for a 98-yard scoop and score. At the end of the day, the players got to execute. How much blame are we going to put on these coaches versus how much blame do we have to put on these players? It's a two-way street. You can't ask for much more than what you have received out of both Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh during their tenures with the respective franchises. And if the Ravens or the Steelers were to fire them, despite them continuing to win, continuing to make it to the postseason, I think both clubs are going to find out really quickly, you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side.